Over the past few weeks, I've been asking some of my friends what they think about AI art. One of my friends, she does art, got a little bit defensive about it. She said that AI would never match up to the standards of humanity. There was something special about humans that made it that when they made art, it was gorgeous, it was special, it was emotional. And another one of my friends said the opposite. He said that AI was inevitable. Said that AI would make art at a higher quality, at a faster rate, and eventually, maybe humanity would just fade into the background. But what about the people who don't care either way? For them, maybe human artists would just fade into the background without them even ever making a conscious decision, and AI would just take over. And that's unacceptable. Because whatever decision we make, it has to be conscious. How should we use AI art? What is the worth of art? And in that case, does human art even still have any? If you guys haven't looked at any AI art websites or played around with it yourself, you might not know, but AI art is really good now. It's like astoundingly good. In the past, I could want my portrait to be taken by an artist, and I would have to pay $50 or $100, and I would sit down and they would draw me, and it would take forever, and in the end I would have a nice stylized portrait. But now, I go to DALL-E or Midjourney or one of these art AIs, and they can create it for $5. And now I have a subscription, though I can make like 30 of them. And they're all stylized, and quality-wise, they couldn't be better. For artists, this is understandably scary. You're going to lose your jobs. But for the rest of us, it feels like AI has been unlocked. For the rest of us, it seemed like there were two groups of people. There were the people who couldn't make art, and there were the people who could. These were the people who could take out a sketchbook and could capture the essence of someone. They could make us laugh, they could make us love, they could make us cry. But now, a machine can do that, and all of us can. You can try it out very easily. Even some of them are free. You just type in gentle sunset with psychedelic colors, and it appears. I think the problem with this, why so many of us are afraid, is that we've convinced ourselves that there's something special about people. There's something inherent that we've separated ourselves from the natural world. We've figured out the scientific method. We've figured out we've sent a man to the moon, for God's sakes. But there isn't. Sometimes the conversation might devolve. We start thinking, yes, of course we're still better. Thank God we're still better. Can't you feel the emotion? Isn't that red brushstroke better than that other identical red brushstroke? Of course. Emotion? That's beautiful. I think we can all agree. Look at that white space. Look at the way that the darkness surrounds the woman as she approaches what could be a portal, could be a window, could be openness, it could be peace. It's stunning. Except it was made by an AI, and it won the Colorado State Fair art competition. So if AI can be looked at by the top artists of our time, and it can win a competition, was there anything special about art after all? Here's a famous piece by a human artist. It's a study in white canvas. This isn't exactly fair, but my point is, our definition of art is so broad that anything could be art. And an AI doesn't have to be a genius to figure that out. And that's why things like this can sell for $432,000 at Christie's. 2 weeks ago, my band teacher played a recording for us. He went over to the computer, pressed play, and asked us to give us our thoughts on the recording afterwards. And we all listened, and afterwards we started exchanging our thoughts. I play clarinet in band, so I was worried about the long runs in the center, or the staccato notes at the end, which seemed way too fast for me to be able to handle. But then our band teacher said something interesting. He said that there was no life in it, and then he asked us why. I hadn't really realized there was anything wrong with the recording. It sounded good. It sounded purposeful, it sounded perfect. And then Jonah raised his hand, and he said, oh, that's a MIDI file. Oh, MIDI file. I know what that is. Okay. Well, it means that was played by a robot. Our teacher said that it was too perfect. It was too without mistakes. There was no rubato, there's none of the legato that we had practiced all our hard work into. I didn't really hear a difference in the two recordings. There's no difference between a human who performed and a robot that performed. What was the difference between the two in the first place? What did I expect? Did I expect that it was the mistakes in the artwork that made it better? Because we can copy that. An AI could replicate those little squeaks that you think the entirety of our humanity lies in. It can make passion, faux passion, but it can make passion. So what makes art human? Scratch that, what makes AI human? In 2014, a new type of AI was released. These were called GANs, or Generative Adversarial Networks. These had two parts to them. One part would train on billions of images scraped across the web and would use them to generate images based on the patterns they found. And the other half would pick among these results and find what humans would like to look at. So if humans are the ones that pick out the artwork, then it seems obvious. Humans make AI human. And I don't think any of us would argue that we make art human. We made a human AI that makes human art. So what's the difference between that and human art? Is it intention? Imagine a kid who uses an AI to write an essay. He gets home after school, opens up his laptop, and he starts typing, except he stops. Why would you continue writing an essay when an AI can do it for you? So he pulls up the AI to a separate tab and he gives it the prompt. Something like, I don't know, the power of Christianity and the growth of Christianity in the European hemisphere. And he puts it in, and the AI spits out a perfectly good essay. And he hands it in. And the teacher can't tell the difference because AI can replicate essays, it's just logic. The teacher gives him a good grade, he goes on to college, and we have a whole generation of kids who have never learned to write. They've never learned how to think. They've never learned how to read intelligently. And the AI knows this. So we, in turn, want to see less complex thought. So the AI starts producing less complex sentences. And suddenly we start reading less complex ideas, less complex emotions. We start reading less. That's terrible. And if it's true that art perhaps has no difference, maybe that's where we're headed. This one's AI. It's koalas based on the Great Wave off Kongo. So I'm afraid. I'm afraid that increasingly we're connecting with a machine that can't make anything wholly new and only recycles the emotions and the thoughts of those that came before it. I'm afraid that one day AI will tell us what is human. And that's where I ended. Because at first I wanted to write, but that's the difference, right? It's that AI can't create anything new. And then the night before our dress rehearsal, I had a bit of a crisis. I'm someone who loves to play the piano. I spend most of my time plunking away at the keys and listening to dead composers centuries past. And I was stuck because I was thinking through this. Why would human art be better? Because it can make something new? Let's say that it could. Let's say an AI spits out something that's completely random. It's a jumble of pixels, but it's in a way that no human had ever thought of. It's in a style that we'd never thought of because we're not AI. And the person who takes it out, they could throw it away, but they look at it. And there's this jumble of pixels, and they say to themselves, this is interesting. What if we put it back in? Put it back in, we get something very similar to that, and suddenly he shares it on the internet, and then a bunch of people like this new style. and it gets passed around to more and more AI, and suddenly human artists are copying that, and we have a whole era and style of art that was made by AI rather than humans. So that can't be true. Maybe because art needs effort in order to be good. Because human artists can put in so much more effort into the work they do. Maybe because it has intention. Because an AI could never have intention in its artwork, right? But there's a human behind every AI. There's a human that chooses the artwork that is produced. There's a human that chooses what it is that it likes. It can make the background of an artwork purple. It can make trees into the foreground. It can make a massive bird or purple clouds. So it can have intention because the people that use it can have intention. So I was stuck because now somehow I had found out that AI art and human art were completely equal in my eyes. And that's not what I had expected going into this, because I had believed in something of a soul, and that was crushed. My answer isn't very satisfying. Here's the thing. I love playing the piano. I don't really see myself ever stopping that, even if an AI could do it better or more creatively than I ever could. I don't think that friend I asked about art will never ever stop drawing because an AI could draw better than her. In 1997, an AI beat the best chess player, and for a moment, maybe the whole world held its breath. Would chess die? There's no point to playing if you couldn't be the best, right? And it seemed like the heart of chess had been taken out and destroyed. But that's not what happened. Chess is still around. AI is just something we use to train ourselves now. If anything, it's stronger than ever. So the long and short of it is, none of us are ever going to stop creating. We're asking ourselves the wrong question. It's not about whether AI art has more value than human art, because at the end of it, it's not going to change anything. From the beginning, we had never produced art because we wanted to prove ourselves that we were better. We created art because we wanted to. Thank you.